sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for The Conversation, meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. Good afternoon, everyone. This is The Conversation on WMNF 88.5. If you're listening anywhere in the world from your device, it's WMNF.org. And we know you're out there listening. I'm one of your two hosts, Mario Nunez. I'm seated, as always, alongside my broadcast partner,
Joe King Carter. Good afternoon.
Look at Joey. He's ready to go. He wakes up in the morning ready to go, and he's really at full speed right after about his third cup of coffee. But Joey, how you feeling this morning?
Well, the third cup is where I start.
Atta baby.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, I'm doing great. How are you? It's a wonderful day.
Listen, I'm already sweating because that's what we're doing this time of year.
Yeah.
Temperatures are, at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's already 90 degrees. I don't know where we go from here. I think that the next range of temperatures, it goes 70, 80, 90, 100 temperature heat index, 110. After that, everything's spontaneously combusting.
About 9 years ago, my central heat and air went out in my house, and to my great chagrin and shock and dismay, it never got below 96 in my house. Ooh. All night.
How do you do that? I mean, unless means, you're constantly pouring water on yourself with did you have a fan at least?
I had a fan, but it's just blowing microwave energy on you.
Hot air.
And by the way, think that people, I personally am old enough. Oh my God, I'm going to say this.
Go on, Joey.
We didn't have air conditioning when I was growing up. The first time we had air conditioning, I was 13 years old, and I grew up under a fan. That's the only way you could survive.
An attic fan. Does anybody remember what an attic fan is?
We had an attic fan.
People that are out there listening now, do you really? Can you recall what an attic fan was, Joey?
They're amazing. Oh, yeah, they're amazing. What they pull in, they do a pretty good job of making air circulation.
That's what it does.
It's still not air conditioned.
The attic fan is
cool.
It's an exhaust fan is what it is. It's designed to draw air into a central location in your house, usually in the middle of your home, and then it vents it out through the roof. And what it does is, you open those jalousie windows. Somebody just said jalousie windows, and I challenge you to spell that, by the way.
And by the way,
jalousie.
You crack the windows a little to increase that force. The only problem that no one talks about with those fans was that you have to dust every 3 months.
Dust every 3 months, and I'll tell you what, we knew organically in our home exactly where to stand for maximum air circulation. So when you came out of the bathroom, brother, you didn't dry off completely.
Right.
You just kind of left a little patina wet on you, and then you stood in that one spot, and it simulated air conditioning. And I'll tell you another thing. Johnson & Johnson never sold so much talcum powder than in the 60s before air conditioning. We'll leave it right there. Joey, we had a good week. I mean, yesterday we had a great day. This is 2 days for us sitting in these chairs.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yesterday was kind of fun and exciting. Tell everybody what we did yesterday.
Because this is rarefied air in the studios of WMNF.
And it's beautiful to be.
Beautiful to be here. It's
wonderful to be here.
And what makes it beautiful are the people that are here.
Yesterday, what did we do?
And the people who are listening.
What did we do yesterday?
Well, yesterday we were guests on Patricia Alonso's maiden show called Making Connections. Yes, I tried not to step on it this time. And it was a delight for us to be on the other side. She
flipped the script on us, didn't she, brother?
Yeah, not having to worry about anything. She
was asking us
talking.
questions.
Yeah, it was nice.
It came off well. I thought it came off very well.
And she's going to be spectacular. And anyone who's out there listening, Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m., Patricia Alonso, she is going to be a force as she gets her feet on this. She's an amazing woman, and I look forward to a lot of great shows coming from her.
A highly informative and entertaining hour, and she is prepared. We know she's buttoned down, brother.
Yes.
Because she knew things about you and me that, we hadn't even really discussed with her.
Say what?
And she said, Joey, we know you're an O-negative blood type. Now, how long have you been donating blood? I said, dang, Patricia.
Yeah, she's good.
A little too much research.
She's good.
But today we have another exciting show for you, as we do each and every week. We attempt to each and every week here on The Conversation, today being no exception. Who do we have in studio with us today, Joey?
Well, I'm going to say, first of all, before I actually introduce him, I'm going to say this, is if we were gauging the people who come to us and their names, Now, Patricia Alonso's full name is?
Patricia Altagracia Alonso. Love to say it that way.
Only a Latino or a Spanish-speaking person could say it that way.
Thank you.
Well, today we have with us Luis Antonio Salazar.
I love it. I love it.
And
Really.
I think...
Not bad for a boy from Bradentown.
I worked on that. Luis Antonio Salazar. That's not just Salazar. So, is that not the character out of a 19th century novel who has a sword in hand and he's swashbuckling?
Or he was second
romantically through the world.
Or listen, I'll give this to you, and Luis can acknowledge this for your consideration. He might have been the next character in line by Cervantes if Don Quixote hadn't really. If it hadn't been Don Quixote, it might just have been Luis Antonio Salazar.
Absolutely, it's a great name.
Sancho Panza still plays, by the way. Sancho had to be there because Sancho was.
So, Luis, welcome.
Thank you. I also have a very good telenovela name, by the way, too.
Oh, yes. No, you absolutely do. You
was a protagonist in some telenovela somewhere.
100%. Univision, are you listening?
So today we have Luis here, and we're going to talk about the issues that bring him to us. But as we always do on our show, we delve into the personal narrative. So we start right at the beginning every time, and we say, where did you grow up?
So I was born in California in this place called Pomona. It's in LA County. My family eventually moved to Arizona. I grew up in a small town called Sahuarita, Arizona. It's about 30 minutes from the U.S. border. I spent all my life there, to be honest with you, until I left to go to the Navy when I was 18. But I grew up in the middle desert. 30 minutes from the border, I got to see a different side of America. Very, very Latino, but Mexican Latino. I didn't speak to a person that wasn't Mexican and was Latino until I went to the U.S. Navy. And I remember his name. His name is Raul, and he was from Puerto Rico. And was the first person I ever spoke Spanish to that didn't speak Spanish like me.
Right, so, they didn't have your dialect and didn't have your culture and your customs.
Very cool experience.
Right.
But it was a small town, probably about 1,000 people when I lived there. It's grown since because of Border Patrol being in the area, and they all are one of the strongest police forces, so there's a lot of people that moved into the space. But growing up there was very rural. My neighbor was about 2-3 miles away from my house.
Wow.
We had, I was what we called ourselves little desert rats. Because
I wanted to ask you, Luis, as you expound on desert rats, what was it like? Because, you're growing up in the desert, quite literally, so you have to be very knowledgeable of what's poisonous, what's not. Be careful with that plant, be careful with that animal. There's things like scorpions and different animals, spiders, the different things that you have to... How was that?
So you learn two things from a very young age. That's the U of A, which the University of Arizona fight song, because we all love the Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
I'm a lumberjack.
Forget the Sun Devils.
I'm a lumberjack, but I love them Wildcats too. But yeah, we call them the Scum Devils, but God bless them.
You see where we're going today, boys and girls.
Scum Devil.
But the second thing you learn is how to back away from a rattlesnake. Right, when you're in the desert. As a young kid, that's what your
100%
parents...
And how do you back away from it?
So the first thing you do is you freeze, and then you slowly take 2 steps back, turn and run.
Okay.
Or run away as fast as possible.
Get out of range from that strike.
Yeah, get out of range of strike because they sense heat, right? They sense the motion, so you want to slowly back up and get out of the way and get out of town, right, as fast as possible. But yeah, there's all sorts of things.
So I'm going to jump the shark now. Okay. Did the movie Rango resonate with you? Did you see Rango? Wasn't that the cutest animation ever?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, it definitely was.
There
Growing up in the desert, I didn't appreciate it when I was there. I hated living in a small town. I was gay. It wasn't very friendly to what I wanted to do with my life. I was too big for that place, right? And so I tried my whole life to escape it. I became an exchange student when I was 14 years old. I got to go live in Australia for a year.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, that was amazing. And I thank you to the Rotary Club for making that experience
possible.
Shout
out Rotary Club.
Yeah, and then I joined the Navy as well when I was 18. It didn't take... it took until I was about 36, I'm 43 now, to really appreciate going home. right? And seeing that place for the beauty it
That's
is.
not uncommon, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
I hated it before.
When you're in the midst of it, you don't see any of the beauty.
No.
You just see the toil and why am I stuck here? And 30 miles from the.
I blame my parents. I was like, "Why did you come here?
Why did you come
all
here?"
places?" We had a well, we had a septic tank, we had for years we had no electricity or running water. It was thanks to organizations like the Rotary Club, like the Lions Club, that helped the communities grow, right, and got us running water. And
You're literally fetching water and chopping wood. You're literally doing that.
It really was.
It was almost frontier life, but you're living indoors, but barely.
We had a mobile home we lived in, and we would heat up water over fire and then put it in a bucket and go inside.
You've come a long way, mi hermano. You've come a long way.
I'm not ashamed of that, though. It
builds character.
It made us who we are. It made me appreciative of all the things we have. Luckily, my family has everything now. We're very fortunate, right? And they have air conditioning, like you were talking about earlier. I grew up with the first car we owned with air conditioning, I think, was when I was probably almost 17 years old or 16 years old, because we were poor, you know what I mean? And you got what you got.
And maybe everybody around you was the same way, Luisito. So it's not like, you knew a big difference.
Nobody knew. We grew up in a rural town with people. The one thing that I loved about it is the people that were there, they cared about each other. They really took care of each other. I remember we would talk to our neighbors that were far away, but we made sure, they were older. Sure. We made sure they had food, made sure that they were taken care of. We would go to the grocery store for them. And
cariñoso, cuidadoso. You guys looked after each other.
Absolutely. And that was the good part of growing up in a small town. Everybody knew everybody.
Right. 1,000 people?
When I used to go, when I was kind of a little rebel when I was 16, 17 years old. Yeah. So we used to go drinking in the desert. And
drinking in the desert.
We drank by the beach or by the lake, but you were drinking in the desert, please.
So the sheriff would come and like catch us, and he's like, "I'm going to call your mom," and he had my mother's phone number, so it was a direct line. He knew us, and we knew him, right? So it kind of was that kind of town, that kind of America. And now that I think back on it, it was something that probably doesn't really exist that much anymore, right?
Right.
Community.
Right. It was a border town in the desert. So does that mean, just so I visualize this, is this a desert like a desert?
Yeah,
the desert.
Are there any mountains in the background?
It's where I live. It's a valley, right?
Right.
So we're on the foothill going up to the mountain, but it's in the valley, and we're surrounded by copper mines where I live. But it is desert.
Anything green there? Are there trees? No.
The highest tree is probably about 6 foot.
I have a good friend.
That is so unique. That is such a unique environment in which to grow up. It shapes you. It does. It absolutely shapes. And probably shaped your desire to get out of there as fast as you possibly could. And then, wait a minute, full disclosure, because he buried the lead here, but we want to ask you about your siblings as well growing up. So we'll get to that. But Joey, he mentioned earlier, he grew up in the desert and he joined the armed forces. What branch?
U.S. Navy.
The Navy, bro. Let me get some water. Can I get some water around me? Can I get water?
Yeah, well, I was.
Can I be on a boat?
I was actually a swimmer my entire life from the age of probably 3 or 4 years old. I swam competitively.
Oh, there you go.
So it was just natural, and it was my ticket out. I wanted to go to college. My parents couldn't pay for it, and I knew it. Right, I knew that wasn't going to be an option, and I didn't know how to go to college because they had maybe gone to middle school. Right. And that was my ticket to get money to go to school.
Smart.
And I didn't know any other way. And I was like, you're going to have to bear with this for a couple of years and just do what you got to do. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I did do some traveling when I was in high school, like I told you. But going to the Navy, I literally have been around the world. I have been around the world on a ship.
Amazing.
And I've got to see amazing cultures, amazing people, and countries that most Americans don't get to go to. And a side of it that they don't get to see as well, which I really appreciate that.
How would you? Because this is one of the criticisms of our even our politics is that too many Americans don't understand their place truly in the world and what's really going on and what real life is really like outside of America. What would be your summation of all that? Why that's so important?
It's important because I'm going to tell you right now, I think as Americans we can be a little arrogant and think that this is the best place to be.
Absolutely.
Right? So to see yourself outside yourself, an introspective look, right? Number one, we all sound like John Wayne when we go overseas. That's our accent, John Wayne. No matter where
we're
you're
all
from
cowboys.
in America,
we're all cowboys.
Yep. Yes.
And not the Dallas Cowboys, by the way. Sorry, Joey.
And we also, and the way people see us, right? The things people think of Americans and the stereotypes that they have, which they do exist, and we do have an American culture, which we don't really understand that the things we share as an entire country. We have
we export to other countries, right?
Yeah, that people really, really love. People see this. People truly do see America as a beacon, right? And as someone to look up to, and guidance. As a country.
Yes.
Lately, I think that's been fading, but we need to work on that.
It's been tarnished.
It's been tarnished.
Definitely. Taking a broadside for sure.
Right.
But we are known for unity. We are known for doing great things. We went to the moon. I mean, this is
because we were challenged to do so.
We did this, right? And it's great to see that perspective from people outside the U.S. At the same time, you also see the things that they don't like, right? Our arrogance, our vision that we are number one anywhere we go.
The military might, that kind of, leading with the tip of the spear, so to speak.
Yeah, but it's interesting when you go overseas as well to see how welcoming people can be, right? Because when you go overseas, a lot of, say, the Middle East, right? I've been to the Middle East. I've been to Bahrain. I've been to United Arab Emirates. I've been to Saudi Arabia. These are all countries that some Americans are very scared to go to. People are very wonderful there. They're very welcoming. Mm-hmm. It is part of their culture to welcome strangers.
I think Samuel Clemens, a.k.a. Mark Twain, had it right. And I'm going to paraphrase the quote, but he mentioned that travel and the fact that you can meet with other cultures and communities is a death knell to things like fascism and narrowness of thought and narrowness of mind. So, you had the experience with the Navy. I had the experience with the airlines. As a flight attendant for 30 years, I traveled quite extensively. And the first time I can remember being in South America, the first time I can remember being in Buenos Aires, I went to a grocery store. And I went to buy something at the grocery store, and I was engaging in conversation with the grocery store owner. And we're talking to each other, and of course he understands my Spanish perfectly, but he also understands the dialect is different from Argentina. Mm-hmm. So the first thing he tells me is, "Caballero, eres de Norteamérica," and he asked me if I was from North America. Exactly. And that was the first time in my life, and I'm an adult already in my 30s, well into maybe my 40s. I'm thinking I'd never thought of myself as a North American. American, certainly. But when you think North America, because they are South American.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's all part of the Americas because you've got Mexico and Central America included in Canada. Mm-hmm. But we have a place in this world, and it's very unique. And to speak to how that made you feel, Luis, when you were traveling, representing our culture and our land.
It did. And one of the greatest lines that I've heard while I was traveling was actually when I was in Mexico, and I said, "Oh, I'm American." And they were like, "Oh, well, so am I." And I had to think about it for a minute, and I had to really put things together and realize that this whole place is called America.
Pan America, right? Pan America.
The whole thing.
Central America.
We are all part of the American continent.
Right.
And it's a centrist view that we have as U.S. American citizens people that live here that we're the number one spot there. But these places are beautiful. I really recommend people go there. The fear that people put in you to not to go there because of violence or whatever, it doesn't exist in the tourist areas. So you need to go see these places. And it's important for us as Americans to really see what's going on outside of the U.S. to have a look at what life could be like, right? The coolest thing I ever saw was when I was in Denmark, and there are babies literally just outside in their carriages, and nobody's stealing them. Their parents are inside having coffee and eating lunch or whatever, and they're just on the sidewalk.
Right.
That's a kind of culture or place that I want to live in, where you can trust your community to be that safe. Right. And here we are asking for that stuff, but it's something that we need to visualize and see so we can say, you know what, that's possible. Yeah. Going outside the U.S. too and hearing what we do is important, because we need to know who we really are, not what the people that we really like always tell us we are. We need to hear from people that don't like us what we are too, because the only way to fix those relationships is to fix those broken links.
Correct.
siblings.
Correct.
We missed that.
Very well said.
We missed that integral part of your relationship with in your youth. Did you share this with anybody? Did you share your desert hijinks with anybody else in that trailer?
So yes, I have one brother, one sister. They are 9 and 10 years older than me, so I was a little whoopsie. So it was cool. Like my brother and sister were like second parents to me, to be honest with me. My sister was not allowed to go on dates unless she took her chaperone, which was me. So I was always the fun chaperone that ordered the shrimp and steaks at the dinner date to make that date a little rough for the guy. But it was fun.
How much fun did you have?
You have to take care of my kid brother.
Yeah.
And you were exposed to things that, ordinarily you might not have at that age, because I was also 9 and 7 years younger than my brothers. Wasn't the whoopsie. The way the story is told, I was the only one they went after, but still the age difference. And it could be one of two things. It could be daunting, and it can be kind of off-putting, or it can be something you feel very protected and very nurtured because you've got your older siblings that are really looking out for you. It sounds to me like they were really looking out for you.
They loved me very, very much. My brother sent me to the first day. My brother was a punk rock guy. So the first day of first grade, he gave me Liberty Spikes and sent me to school. My mother,
nice.
My mother almost killed him, but he was a fun guy, and my sister was the same way. I think because of them, I really learned to truly. I was born in the 80s. But I remember the last end of it. But because of them, and they were going through their teen years, I got a real appreciation for not just pop from the 80s, but punk rock,
alternative,
and hard rock,
sure.
Alternative, because they were both different worlds, but they loved each other, and I got to hear these different cultures collide, right? These pop stars and rock stars that would be fun for them, and it gave me a really good Rolodex in my head of music that I like.
How'd you do in school?
I wasn't the greatest student in high school. I went to, I think I should have been in some sort of ESL program, right? Because I learned Spanish.
Which stands for?
English as a second language.
Thank you.
Yeah, I learned Spanish first when I was a young child. At the age of at 5, right before I went to kindergarten, I was kind of given a quick lesson on English to the point where I went to school and they're like, no, he's fine. But I really struggled with grammar and punctuation. I still do because I was living in two worlds, right? Yes. I would go home and
everything's in
foreign
Spanish.
Land, right? And then I'd go to school and it was all English. And in that day, it was really discouraged. That people really discouraged you from speaking Spanish at school, right? It was really
assimilation,
really looked down upon. Mm-hmm. So, and my parents just did not want us to forget it. They were hardliners on teaching us Spanish and making sure that when we wanted something, we asked for it in Spanish, that we could answer in Spanish, that we, in the Latino family, when you go over to a house, you say hello to everybody.
If you don't give them a besito, of course. Yes. Un abrazo, un beso.
So those customs were ingrained in me, but I did live in two worlds, and that made school difficult for me. And I was also gay, so I was being picked on the entire time. I hated it.
When did that come to you? When did you realize that you were a little bit,
I think I knew my whole life as a young child. I just knew something was different. I didn't know what to call it.
Right.
I didn't know what to call it until I was much older, probably around 13, 14 years old. And then I realized,
However, Joey, we're looking at Luis, not a small guy. Right. Kind of a big guy.
Yes.
I wouldn't go pushing on him too much because you don't know if he knows jiu-jitsu, karate, and all those other funny words.
That's true.
But I'm saying, did you participate in any sports growing up?
I did.
Soccer. Come on, tell me you played soccer. You say you swam.
I did play soccer. I always tell my dad, isn't it funny? Because my brother, who's the punk rock guy, is like the big musician, right? He can pick up any instrument and play it like in 5 minutes.
What a talent.
Yeah, and I was the jock in the family. So I played soccer. I was on swim team. I was on wrestling. I was on track and field. I did a little tennis. I loved playing team sports. And I always tell my dad, isn't it funny that your gay son's the jock, Dad?
That is perfect.
And he's the same type, right? Like I am very much like my father. Like we have very similar personalities. We love sports. We love to play sports, right? And to be very funny, very outgoing. And I hung out with my dad a lot because when we were kids, we didn't have we didn't have a babysitter. So I would go to work with my dad, and he drove like this big UPS truck looking thing.
Like a panel truck?
Yeah, and he delivered oxygen. So I would, in the back of it, I would have like a little bed, and I'd go to work with him.
And all the free oxygen you needed.
All the little old ladies used to give me sodas, toys.
Oh, there you go.
Your life in the desert was an adventure in more ways than one.
It was. I used to pee out the door with the door open and going down the highway.
That's a visual. And on that,
as a small child.
And on that, let's take a little break here. We're going to do a station. ID and an idea. A show idea is what better said.
Yes.
And
Hi, I'm Patricia Altagracia Alonso, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 FM, Tampa.
Oh, Patricia.
Thank you, Patricia.
That was wonderful. So if you're just joining us now, you're listening to The Conversation on 88.5 WMNF here in Tampa. We are talking today with Luis Salazar, who is just regaling some of the wonderful stories of his youth. We're going to get into what he's been doing since his professional adventures here, and especially in the Tampa area. But we'd like to also give you the phone number now in case you'd like to join us here on The Conversation. You can call us at 813-239-9663. Always send us a text if calling is not an option. 813-433-0885. Emails graciously accepted. And of course, Jessica Green, who is our engineer producer, will read those for us if they're appropriate. She'll read those for us. DJ@WMNF.org.
Yes. So now let's you in the Navy and you're out of the Navy, and what happens next?
So I roamed the earth a little bit because I hadn't tasted freedom in a while.
I roamed the earth.
Yeah, very nomadic sounding. Very nomadic. Did you have a direction where you?
Nope. I just would buy plane tickets and go somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I would work for a little bit and then just travel to wherever I wanted to go. I lived in a
Solito.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes that's the best way to go, to be honest with you.
Of course.
And after a few years, I was like, okay, this is it. I got to go to school. I did this for a reason, and my parents came here for a reason for me to accomplish things, and I really had a...
And where did your parents come from?
From Mexico. Yep. My mom is from Nogales, Sonora, and my dad is from Jalisco, in Guadalajara, Jalisco. Yep.
See.
And that was a big reason why I went to the Navy as well, because this country was good to my family. Even though it was rough, it was good. We had a lot of things that I saw my cousins in Mexico didn't have. Right? I had Christmases, I had family vacations, I had all these things that, they really tried to make us have what we consider a normal upbringing. So I was like, okay, I got to go to school. I'm going to be the first one in my family to graduate from a university, and I really made it a goal. I ended up going to community college in Tucson, Pima Community College. I was an Aztec there. And then I went there for about 2 years and then transferred to Northern Arizona University. We're the Lumberjacks, which is a fabulous school up in the mountains in Flagstaff, Arizona. Shout out to Flagstaff.
Flagstaff is cool.
And the Lumberjacks out there. But I was there, and I never lived in anything really that cold before. So it's really...
And when I said cool, I meant really cool because it is cold up there.
It snows from Halloween to Mother's Day. So it's...
Wow.
Yeah. And deep snow. I experienced the first time I ever experienced blizzards,
whiteouts,
whiteouts, having to wear those ugly snow boots. Like it
put everything on just to go outside.
It was great, but it was a great community. We walked everywhere. Like I used my car maybe once a week to go get groceries because all the students were just like, it was very accessible, walkable city, and I learned to love that place too. And I really miss college, to be honest with you. I had really good friends. I had a great experience. I went to school for public relations.
I can relate to that. It's a fun time in college.
Fun time of your life.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And with that degree in public relations, I got to do cool stuff too. I got to intern with the Phoenix Suns. I got to intern with Tampa Bay Rays. I got to intern with Telemundo. I got to experience for the first time political stuff, right? Because when I had an experience when I was in college. Because like I said, we walked everywhere. I was walking to school, and there was a law, I believe it was SB 1070, which is called being pulled over while brown in Arizona. And I was walking to school, and on my way to school, I got stopped by immigration. And they were like, please declare your citizenship. And I didn't cooperate. I said, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm just trying to go to school.
Right.
It got a little heated, and it really made me feel for the first time like, I fought for this country, and I'm just trying to go to school.
Right.
And there's a man asking me where I'm from in my country. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
It made me very angry. Very, very angry. Mm-hmm. And that was when I decided I was going to do something about it. So I joined the Arizona Students Association, which was a group at my college that went and lobbied for student rights. At that time, the biggest thing we were lobbying for is not having guns on campus. And to make sure that, tuition stayed affordable for students like me that didn't have opportunities to go to college. I had to go to the Navy. And that really got me on a path of a hunger for being an advocate for people. And I had a really good teacher. My mom and dad were advocates without even knowing about it. They would help people that were undocumented that I would find in the desert.
In your community?
In the desert. I would find undocumented people in the desert and be like, come on, my mom's going to help you. And I'd show up at the door and she'd yell at me for a little bit, but then we'd bring them in, get them showered, get them fed, make sure they feel safe, and take them to sanctuary churches. Which
what a great example! What a great example your parents set for you.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people they helped, and it wasn't just undocumented people. Anybody in the community. My mom would give you her shirt off her back. Would give you her plate of food, and she would not eat so you could have something. Like she's just that kind of person. Mm-hmm. My dad is the same way too. I always joke because I would say my dad is the first person who made me break the law when I was little in his big truck, right? So we had
peeing out the back. Was that against the law?
That was another one. but we would take the people to the sanctuary church, right? Because it's human beings. Like, what are you gonna do, right? And he would just sit me in the front, and I'd put my little Walkman on, and he'd be like, "Just look normal," and I'd be like, "Okay." And we'd have like 10 people in the back and take them to the sanctuary church. I'm not ashamed of that. I really like helping another human being is a pleasure in life. And that's what I continue doing to this day. I really enjoy being an advocate and helping people. And I learned that in college. I also learned in college, and it's kind of sad to see this going, how to question man, right? How to think independently, how to research, how to find out things for myself instead of relying on other people to do it for me. I had some excellent professors that were very, very good at teaching us, giving us the tools we needed in order to think independently.
Fostering that independence.
They really did. And funny enough, one of my professors was from Tampa, and he got me the job. He got me an internship. That's how I ended up in Tampa. He got me an internship out here, and he said, "Hey, I think you'd be perfect for this."
What was his name?
Dr. Phillips. He's at NAU. Yeah, he's a great guy. Mm-hmm. And I ended up here. I had a choice between coming here and Miami. I'm glad I came here.
No, we were beneficiaries for that decision. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what year would that be?
That would be 2015 is when I officially came here. January 2015. Ago. I really love this city. I have lived in a lot of places. Mm. I can't even tell you the names of all the places I lived. This was the first place I ever felt like this is my home. I have to fight for this place. I have to be part of this place. It's ingrained in me. I may not have been born here, but trust me, this city adopted me, right? And I love this city.
It's pretty obvious that your parents both have put this wonderful public servant's heart in your chest. And I think the people that are listening now are kind of learning that about you. But they need to know also that you're not through. You're in your midlife. You said you were 43, Luisito. You were right there. And we know that you are the president currently of the LGBTQ Hispanic caucus. Let me correct myself because I'm a member of the Hispanic caucus.
It's a lot to get out.
You are that as well.
I am.
But you are the president of the LGBTQ caucus, Democratic caucus here in Hillsborough County. How did you come to that leadership role? Please talk about that.
So, funny enough, I was looking for work. I had no idea that I was ever going to be this involved in the caucus. And I'm president right now, and I'm now in my second term. I used to come to their meetings because I do social media. I work in social media. So I used to come looking for work and to make money, right? I needed to eat.
Opportunities.
And to build my resume. I ended up becoming their political action chair. From there, I organized in the community. So I was in charge of doing outreach. I set up, right now, our caucus has 4 events a month where we do stuff in the community. One of them's a meeting, but the other stuff is actually being in the community.
Outreach.
Doing outreach. Right. We hand out things like Narcan, fentanyl strips, take-home HIV kits, pregnancy tests, condoms, lube, things that keep people alive.
Now, let me do this real quick. I know that the average person out there probably knows what a caucus is, but I think there might be people out there that don't. So let's start at ground zero real quick and then get back to that.
So,
how do you define a caucus and what does that mean?
A caucus is an organization that is identity-based. So us is LGBTQ. You go to the Hispanic one, right? And it's a group of Democrats that fight for that community.
Right.
So
that's a caucus, a Democrat caucus. That is a caucus that has the characteristics of that identity.
Yeah.
So give me 5 examples of other caucuses you didn't mention.
So we have the Hispanic caucus, the LGBTQ caucus, the environmental caucus, the Jewish caucus, the disability caucus, the Black caucus.
Excellent.
Right?
Okay, good. So I think people out there now get the sense of how that works.
It's a subset, if you will, of the Democrat. We're all Democrats. We're all part of the Democratic Party, but we all, and it's not siloed because we do cross-reference and we work with each other constantly.
Right.
But we are in our groups so that that's the focus of our outreach. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right.
And the communities that we're going to inspire to vote. Right. That's what it should be.
That's right.
So now we can go back to where you were. I'm sorry.
So we do outreach. We hand out those resources to young people. I go to where young people are at. I go to the clubs in Ybor. Southern Nights is the club I go to, and I hand out resources. They just actually are going to switch places, so we'll be going to their new club when they open up. And I make sure I talk to them about petitions, the importance of voting, why safe spaces like that they're in, if they really like those spaces, they really need to start paying attention to what's going on because they can very easily be taken away with a stroke of a pen. So it's for us as a caucus, our goal is to educate voters about what's going on. Since I became the president of the caucus, we've changed that conversation a little bit because before you used to go, when we would go canvassing is where you go knock on a door and you're like, hey, let me tell you about the Democratic Party or these candidates.
Classic canvassing.
Yeah. So I had a instance where I talked to a person at the door and they said, you only come around when you want my vote. I said, okay, well, I promise you I'll be around year round. So for 3 years now, we've been doing year-round organizing. And the conversation we have at the door isn't, these are my 3 points. The conversation we have at the door is, what is going on in your life and what would make your life easier if you could do it right now? Would it be childcare? Would it be better transportation? Would it be rental assistance? Would it be a better job? And how can we fight for those things? And they tell me. I have people tell me what their issues are. Because any issue you have, I 100% can always bring it back to why it's important to vote.
Right.
And that's what we are fighting for. We really need to regain our voter advantage here in Hillsborough County. We need to regain, some civility, to be honest with you, because the issues I fight for are for better education, for you to have a safe neighborhood, for you to be able to have a good job, and for you to be able to get from point A to point B in this country without being harassed. Right.
What you experienced personally.
Yeah, that was really deep for me. And we fight for those things because they're not partisan issues. Those are American issues.
Correct.
You want healthcare. You want a safe home. You want a safe neighborhood. You want your kids to get a great education, a great public education, hopefully, and a great public school. And, that takes all of us really working together, not just Democrat, not just Republican, or wherever you are. I bet you believe in those values.
The boomers, yourself and myself, Joey, we've kind of outlived our usefulness, as it were, and we're at the end of our life cycle.
How dare you?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joe, to be the bearer of bad news.
No,
but
I'm just getting started, buddy.
In the sense of the policies and the policy making, we've kind of maybe even overstayed our welcome a little bit. So now our offspring, which our son is 42 years old. Sally, my son's 42 years old. So right there with Luisito, that it's up to them now. We have to pass the torch, and we have to let them have their moment in the sun.
We do.
To carry the mail, as it were.
Yeah,
and we need to step aside graciously. Step aside and give them the tools. And give them the tools, exactly.
And support when possible.
Yeah.
Always give that support.
We really fight for, people. I really, really stand up for people even younger than me that are involved, because it is time to pass on the torch.
100%.
Because I don't want to do this forever, to be honest with you. This is exhausting, always being on guard, right?
And you age out pretty quickly under that tension all the time. And I think that's half of what, we'll just call them the bad people. What they want us to do is just get exhausted and give up the fight. But
we can't.
We can't afford that.
Even if I was exhausted, I wouldn't quit, to be honest. It's ingrained in me. But giving young people the opportunity to grow, to learn, to become leaders, and be elected. is really important because they are going to be the leaders for the next 40 years. So it's important to put people in there that are going to make good decisions.
Is this a good time, Joe, to maybe make a little small inquiry of our guest today? Because it's obvious to everybody who's listening. It's certainly obvious. It's not lost on Joe and myself that Luis is ramping up. Luis is ramping up to represent his community in a much bigger way and take that next big step. I don't know if you want to break any news here today on the show. That's fine. If you don't, we'll have you back when you're ready to. But can you see yourself in public office?
Most definitely. I want to run for something. That's not a secret.
And not run away from something.
Not run away.
There you go. I'm just saying.
I need to find something that would be good for me. I really love local.
There's your slogan. I'm running for you. I'm not running away.
I'm not running away. I love.
Way to go, Joey. Way to go.
I love local stuff. So city council is really on my radar right now. I think that's a spot where you can actually make a lot of change. And if you don't know, big things happen locally. Right. So that's why local election and municipal elections are so important because the roads you drive on are decided in those spaces.
Taxes you pay.
Your immediate environment that you experience is local. It's always great to vote up the ballot and at the higher offices as well, but we really need to really pay attention to what's going on locally because if you see right now what's going on locally, it's not good. Right. It's not good. Right. Public education's under attack. They're widening the roads instead of giving us real solutions.
Right.
To transportation.
Yes.
I've often said that, Luis. I've often said that, it's like the big guy that's, trying to lose weight and he instead of making the effort to either, eat more nutritiously or exercise more and lose the weight that way, he says, in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy bigger pants and be more comfortable and that's the same thing with adding more lanes. Yeah, you're adding more lanes to a highway. You're just going to get more traffic.
Yes.
And the gridlock will continue.
Well, also, as Luis knows, that I've worked with FDOT in my political life in Ybor City, and FDOT has done some good things. But the problem is that we have a system by which contractors make money to make roads.
It's bureaucracy.
Concrete.
And that is a kind of, in a sense, the kind of thing that all capitalism deals with in its most unhealthy parts. But the point is that's part of the big problem. Is that we have an ingrained system of expanding roads because people profit from that.
We do,
and that's has to be addressed somehow. And I don't see that being addressed. And I think it needs to be. So when you're on council,
Luis, come on, Luis, we got your back. Now we got your back.
We actually at the caucus are having this conversation because we feel that things are not good for us right now as a party. We are not very well liked. It is a fact. I'm going to admit it myself if nobody else wants to. So we have to fix the problem and take an introspective look at ourselves and see what we are doing to push away voters or people that want progressive ideas. Young people. I register young people to vote all the time. They don't register as Democrats or Republicans. They register as MPAs. Okay.
Which stands for?
For no party affiliation.
Thank you.
And I have conversations with them. And a lot of times I think us as Democrats, we think we're the heroes of the saga. And we're not. Because those MPA voters see us as just as evil as Republicans or Democrats.
We can't
Republicans.
We can be, Luis. We can be.
We need to change how we speak to people.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
change some ideas too as well.
I think it's set up. If I could opine for a minute, I think it's set up for us to be the good guys. We always were traditionally the good guys. But we've taken our eye off the ball a little bit. We've taken our eye off the main goal.
And the values we stand for, right? The economy, environment, healthcare, young people being able to have a future.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Equity, inclusion. These, if we stand for these things, why are these young people not standing with us? Right. So we're having panels all summer long. We're having one on Tuesday. It's called No More Lip Service. We're taking, how are we going to win back our marginalized voters? Right.
And how are we going to inspire them?
How are we going to inspire them? How are we going to really look at ourselves and say, okay, you got yourself here. Now it's time to find some solutions, right? Because I think right now people are looking for solutions. We all know how someone can live rent-free in our head. I'm not going to say his name, but he can live rent-free in our head. Stop doing that.
Right.
Stop.
And no more platitudes.
Yeah.
No more telling me, elucidating what the problem is, because we can see it with our own eyes.
Exactly.
Just
I know.
let's work towards solutions. Let me give that phone number out again for those of you that would like to join us. We're coming rapidly to the close of another wonderful Wednesday edition of The Conversation, but please, we'd love to hear from you. 813-239-9663 is the number to call, and we do have a caller on hold who's been waiting for a couple of minutes, and let's go to Miss Julie in Tampa. Julie, you're on the air.
Hey, Mario. Hey, Joe. Good job. Luis, don't just consider city council. Think of Hillsborough County Commissioner Josh Wastel needs to go. He does not work for the people, so keep that into the open. And I'll talk to you all later.
Julie, you're the best. Thank you so much for calling, always with your insightful commentary.
What say you, Luis?
And for caring so much about us.
Most definitely. There are so many things we need to be worried about right now and change. And I have that is an option, right? I need to find out what is the most where I can win, right? Because it's not about you can
can't help if you don't win. Can't help if you don't win.
Whatever, but if you don't win, you can't bring change. And connecting with people is the way we win. There is definitely a group of young individuals in this city that want change, and we have to support them, right? Because it's not just enough wanting it, right? Because if and when I do run, I'm going to tell you the truth right now. I'm going to need money, and I'm going to need a lot of it, and I'm going to need volunteers, and I'm going to need support.
Well, I'm
right?
out.
Attaboy, Joey.
But it can happen if we all do a little bit.
Of course.
Right?
What is it saying? Many hands?
Many hands helps, right? Like
Make light work.
We can create this change of a community that we see that we want. We also have to remember that we are Americans, no matter where we are or on the political aisle, that we stand for something greater than a political party, and that is America, right? The land where people grew and expanded this nation on the backs of immigrants. That people here are strong, we are smart, we are capable when we are united.
Yes.
And it is important that I not only have the support of Democrats, but the support of Republicans as well, that see a vision of a better place to live.
Here, Luis. And I'll tell you what, we are kinder and gentler and more considerate than we're showing right now. We're better than this.
We are.
I believe this in my heart. We are better than this.
We are most
We
definitely.
also, another thing too, is that young people, you're talking about this particular demographic, is there's the meme that goes on through a lot of social media out there, is that young people are not very well educated, and young people this, and there's a lot of dumping on young people. When in fact, what I find is that my friends who are in their 20s, who are very young, are incredibly perceptive and incredibly smart. They've grown up under, even if the education system at some level might have failed, they have accessed the information system online, and they've become very smart. And they are asking the right questions, and that's what we need to do. That's
100%.
the change.
100%.
We do have another caller. We're so grateful for that. Let's go ahead and take that call currently. Bill in Inglewood. Bill, what say you, sir?
Well, I was listening. I just got in the car and heard, and the first thing I heard was if they build more traffic lanes, they will cause more traffic. I got an issue with that. The thing is, we can't stop the developers from building more houses, which brings more people, which contributes to more traffic. We've got to have more lanes to support this traffic, especially if there's an evacuation. I don't really think you've thought that through. So, where we don't want more people living here to cause more crowding, we can't stop the dadgum developers from doing it as much as we'd like to.
Well, Bill in Inglewood, I'm going to tell you, between you and me and my co-worker here, Joe, we need to stop them dang. We need to stop them. We need to have a real bad hurricane. So I'm being facetious, of course, Bill. And I understand what you're saying. And I wasn't intimating that the adding of the lanes was the main problem, because you need egress and regress. You need to have access roads. And, of course, when the new developments come in, they got to have roads that take them to the highways. But
I wish that they would make those new developments at least affordable housing for people.
Thank you.
100%.
Now you got our attention, Bill.
Yeah.
Or plan better, right? And by saying that we can't stop the developers, we can if we vote right. If we vote for people that don't let that kind of stuff
and at
happen.
very least, we can probably slow them down or give them pause. Yeah. Right now, I think they're coming at us willy nilly because they know it's wide open. It's the Wild West.
Bill, let me say, Bill.
There is that, but once you vote for them, and then the developers get their money in them, they change their mind.
Yeah. Well, Bill, let me just say real quick that I'm sorry if my words were misinterpreted. I don't mean that we should stop developing roads. What I meant was that in addition to roads, we need to be addressing some kind of mass transit for people who don't want to drive their car everywhere.
And at least in the city,
and
right?
that would help alleviate some of that stress on those roads. So if we got some good mass transit in place, and I'll tell you that I live in Ybor City, and I live 2 blocks away from the trolley, and if I need to go downtown, do you think I'm going to drive my car downtown and pay expensive parking and go through all that mess? I just jump on the trolley, and you know what? It's really nice, and it happens to be...
I wish there was a trolley from Inglewood. Right now, I'm traveling from...
And there
you go.
Yeah, there should be.
Yeah.
We should have high-speed rail already.
So
by
what
now.
we need are good solutions all the way around. And you're talking about development. The other issue is, and Luis is sitting with us talking about his own political aspirations, is the problem is that many of the individuals who are in political office, this is how I see it, are not going to get voted in if they say, I want to regulate or limit development, because that goes to somebody else who says, well, now you don't like jobs, do you? Mm-hmm. So all of that combined is something we need to address in Florida, because we can't just keep growing and growing and growing and not have some concern for how big that waistline is going to get.
100%.
Perfectly said, Joey. Bill, thank you so much for listening and for taking the initiative to call in.
Thank you, Bill.
We appreciate you.
I've been listening to 88.5 for, about 30 years now, and I love it.
Well, you are no stranger to us because you've called us before, and we know Bill from Inglewood. So thank you, sir. Be safe out there.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
I'd also like to add to Bill, we're not saying not to bring jobs. We're saying to plan better.
Absolutely.
Right? We want jobs.
Yes.
Right? Use that money
Responsible planning goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, planning, I'm a big advocate of planning, because if you go to the grocery store, you're going to have a list that says bananas and milk. If you don't bring that list with you, you're going to forget the bananas. You might remember the milk. So there's the issue, right?
And Jessica's signaling to us that she might have something to contribute from the email side. Jess?
Yeah, we just got somebody who wrote in that just gave a great line here. My Greek ancestors gave many good things to civilization. Politics is not one of them.
We like that. We like that.
Well, yeah, but democracy is not a bad idea.
It is not. It is not. And it's
still the best idea on the planet, correct?
Yes.
I mean, it's flawed. It has its problems, but we can still work within the constructs of the frame and make it as best as we can, make it as good as it can be. Look, I mean, I think now, and Luis, address this real quick, more people now are conscious of the Constitution than ever before, because it is right in front of us. And now we're faced with this dilemma of, is it party over Constitution? It's the Constitution that makes the United States what it is as a political entity and just as a vibrant society. We have to have rules, and the Constitution gives us that.
It does. And while our system is not perfect, and no system is, it is the system that's worked the best, and it's the system that we have to fight for as the people. Right, correct. We are the constructors of this Constitution and what it represents. This idea that it could get better, it only could get better if you participate in the system. Right, it's important for you to be there in the conversation, in the room, talking about the things that affect your community and what you want to see in that community. We'd like to always, say that we're going to find equality, or that we'll finally get to equality one day. I'm a firm believer, and I might be seen as bad in this. I don't think we'll find equality, because there's always going to be someone trying to take it away from you. But we can fight for equality forever. And that's why we have to have guardians that believe in equality and believe in something bigger for our communities, always speaking up and defending that vision. of what
Spoken like a
America
grassroots guy right there.
Before
you know
we
what? He's
sign
got
off-
my vote.
Before we sign off, I want to say that, Luis, you've done a wonderful job today of acquitting yourself and introducing yourself to the community writ large. And you're welcome to come back here anytime to continue the
And
conversation.
in this last minute, is there anything that you would like to add real quick, just about your caucus or about what you're doing or anything?
How they can find you.
Definitely. If you want to come join us, we are the Hillsborough County LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. We're on all the socials. I'm going to end this call with saying we reach our community in every single possible way we can. And right now, there is a need for us to be united and go out there and reach out to people that we usually don't talk to. If you don't do it with me, I hope you do it with someone else.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Joey, what say you? What's in the offing? What's coming up next? Do we have anybody we need to thank?
Well, we do. I mean, first of all, I'd like to say special thanks to Jessica Green, our super board op, without which we could not even do this.
Thank you.
And also, I want to say thank you to Cheryl Hill, who's been staffing our phones and answering our phones today. Thank you, Cheryl. She's amazing.
Makes a mean cup of coffee, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And then coming up next after the news break, it's the Music Wednesday with who? Say hey, Sam.
I'm just Sam.
Sam is coming up, folks.
Stay tuned, everybody, because today she's going to be joining us in her brand new time slot, and she is wonderful. You're used to listening to her at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, no more. You don't have to get up anymore at that time of the morning to be listening to Sam. Sam's going to be coming at you in just a couple of minutes. Luis, thank you. We love you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You've been listening to WMNF Tampa.